everyone, Bethany here, and welcome to my channel. Today I am joining the Not Too Shabby Shop team, and we are going to play around with some of our favorite holiday things from the Not Too Shabby Shop. I have a fun story for you. Before I was on the design team, I had gotten this stamp set as part of the Stamp and Die Club of the Month, and this was probably my favorite one ever, and of course I had to record a video. And so today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to case my own card. I will hopefully remember to drop a link to the original video, which is almost actually just a little bit over a year old now. But I have a really cool idea in my head. It's a little bit different technique, a little bit more paper piecing, but I'm going to just dive on in and go for it. I have my favorite things. I have the stitch circle dies. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut out a white stitched circle, and that will be my template to begin with. I will do that off screen and be right back. Now that I have that circle cut out, I'm going to go ahead and place the stamp. Now you'll notice the stamp is like right to the edge and a little bit over the edge, which is okay. That was kind of my goal, was to do that. But it also makes it hard to place with using the magnets. So my way around that is to use some mint tape right into my Misti. And this way, at least I have the ability to try to get this to stay in place. So fingers crossed this actually works. It may not work. It may be an epic fail, which is okay, but at least I tried because I have this really cool concept in my head and I really have high hopes that I can make it work. And once I am satisfied with my placement, I'm going to go ahead and ink it up with some black ink really well, stamp it down a few times. And I've used this stamp a lot. It's one of my all-time favorites. So it's becoming a little dark over time, but you can tell I really, really love the stamp set. It's very versatile, and because I live in Wisconsin where sometimes it's perpetual winter, this kind of card can pass for more than just Christmas. It can pass for the whole winter, aka sometimes 4 to 6 months. And giving it a good press and coming back. And I'm going to fast forward through this so you don't have to watch me keep going back and forth. And then once I'm satisfied with the impression, I'm going to go ahead and let that ink dry for a little while. Now that I've given the stamped image enough time to dry, I've zoomed in so you can see what I'm doing a little bit better. But I am just going to select some fun colors. I am just kind of picking some random ones, and I'm going to fast forward through it, but I'm going to just color in kind of without a color scheme in mind, just because I feel like it. Normally, when I'm doing alcohol inking, I'll have a little scrap piece of paper on the side, and I'll go ahead and test out my colors, but for today, I'm just randomly selecting something as I go. Even the whites, I'm going to add some color. Even my dark black is really going to be a charcoal gray. So there's a lot of gray usage in here. And don't mind me, I am still getting over an ear infection actually from way back in the early part of October. I got sick, and that's why you've seen less videos from me than usual, especially this time of year because this is my peak crafting season. But life sometimes throws you some twists and turns that you are not expecting. And this random ear infection turned to I need to drink tea and have cough drops practically what feels like year round as the current situation. So I'm hoping it passes soon enough. It's been a month and a half, give or take. And yeah, I really want my voice back, and I don't want it to be hurting every time I talk. And you'll notice that I did add some grounding with a little snow pile and a shadow. Very light, hinted, not super drastic, but nonetheless still there. And one thing you'll notice when I am using this brush tip, I will sometimes change my angle to fit the edges of what I am coloring in. This helps make sure that I am hitting the points at the right angle and not over coloring. Takes a lot of practice, but with practice comes patience, and with patience comes a skill set that you can utilize whenever needed. So cute little scenes like this are perfect in my opinion for that kind of practice because there's little angle changing that happens here and there. And if I'm not changing the angle of my brush, I'm changing the direction of the paper if that's more convenient and comfortable. But again, lots of practice to get to that point. And even though I've taken precautions like that, I still definitely overdo it occasionally, so always give yourself some grace and become friends with your colorless blender. And the last part that I'm doing is the tree, and you'll notice I am doing a splotch method, which I think I've showed on my channel before, but I'm going to do it again for this one, where I'm basically covering the majority of it, the majority of the shape, but leaving lots of space for other versions of this green, which in turn gives a little texture and implies leaves or movement, branches actually, or movement. This technique is not for everyone, but it's something I really like doing. But basically I've just picked 3 different greens and then I'm splotching them all around. And that last green, the goal is to finish covering all the blank spots. And that's going to generally be my lightest color. And then it'll help blend in the other 2 colors together, which this is still one of my favorite techniques because there is no perfectionism here, just blending back and forth to get that little bit of texture. And there we go, there is the final product of that. So let's go ahead and move my alcohol markers aside and start assembling. Here you can see I have my A2 size card base. I cut it out of Neenah 110-pound cardstock whites, and I cut and scored it myself. I've also used a part of a previous paper pad called Fall Gingham, and I am using the maroon color, and I cut it down to 5¼ by 4 inches. And so basically there's a little edge, which you know me, I either have an edge or nothing at all. And I felt like this just needed a little bit of a breakup in the coloring. So basically how it's going to look is it's going to look like this. So I'm going to go ahead and start assembling this. Nothing fancy or exciting, just gluing it down using my Barely Art glue. My glue is getting clogged. It must be that time of year. Winter always clogs my glue. And then eyeballing it here, but going to try to make it as straight and centered as possible. And then instead of waiting, I'm going to go ahead and put my little cute guys right down right behind that, a little bit above and center because I will be putting a sentiment that'll take up some space as well. But I'm using the lines of the gingham as a guide for how centered I am or not. And then I'm going to put that under some weight and let it dry and be right back. And while that is drying, I'm going to go ahead and stamp out the Merry Everything that also came in this stamp set off screen. Once I stamped it out, I actually realized I wanted to do the Tinsel, red Tinsel embossing powder. It's Recollections, it's ruby colored from Michaels, and I thought this just needed a little extra punch, so I used the embossing powder on top of my ink. And now I'm going to go ahead and heat emboss it before I die cut it out. And I will, of course, fast forward that so you don't have to listen to that lovely noise of the heat gun. And of course, you'll notice that I heat it from behind because that makes sure that none of the tinsel flecks fly away as I'm heating it. And once they're adhered, then I switch to heating from the front. Now I'm going to go ahead and die cut this. And there is the final result. It's shiny, it's shimmery, and so stinking cute. Now I'm going to go ahead and add this to my little cute card, and I'm going to keep it simple today and just use some more Barely Art glue. I'm going to let it nestle into that little gray lump of snow I created. And I want to make sure this has a little extra glue because it's going to be off the round and onto a different layer. But look at how adorable it is. It color coordinates. And now one last thing I'm going to add is the final touch. I'm going to use the Nuvo Dream Drops. It's basically a clear shimmer, but I'm going to add it right on top of that snow. And just, it'll dry clear with some shimmer to it. And it'll be stinking adorable. And I just wanted to add that little bit so it ties in with the Merry Everything shimmer there. And that is all I have for this hop. I hope you enjoyed today's simple tutorial. I absolutely love the results. It's fun, it's festive, and I feel like this is a little bit more clean and simple version of the previous video that I had done with the stamp set. And I can't say that I love one over the other, but it might be just this one. The other one had a lot more of ink blending, and which is okay. But this was really fun and exciting to bring back out. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial as part of the holiday hop. I had so much fun, and don't forget to check down below for the link to the shop as well as the link to the next person in the hop. And I will be seeing you very soon for more holiday inspiration and crafty goodness, especially from the Not Too Shabby shop. Have a wonderful day. Don't forget to find the joy in your day, and happy making. Bye!